Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and behind me we have a disaster. Well, it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's actually gotten worse than it's getting better-ish. We're working on the 38 Plymouth. This is our final stretch to get it painted out and back to the customer. We did get a little extra time for here this month. He got his date for the upholstery shop bumped a little bit, and we've got a couple more days left. Middle of November for me here. I want to get this thing hopefully buttoned up back to him by the time we're sitting down for Thanksgiving dinner. Now, I've got a whole pile of parts in my basement. I'll bring those up later. We've got the hood assembly, the fenders, the running boards, the trunk, the little air inlet, the headlights, the tail lights, all the stuff you don't see here has already been painted, and by and large it turned out really well. There's an area, if I have time to go back and redo, just wasn't happy with how some of the paint laid down around one of the edges. And then, of course, we got a bug, or at least a half of a bug, in my clear coat. So really, if I want to redo that, I've got to reshoot the whole panel, because with the metallic, you're not gonna, I don't think, I'll try. Maybe I can reshoot the clear. We'll see. Anyways, what we've got going on is finishing this up. I've got this area here. Well, there, right there. See, I'm pointing like 3 feet in front of the hood over here, grill. Anyways, this assembly thing right here needs to get primed, painted. It's been stripped pretty much. Go over it, clean it, wrap the whole car. I have one door, the driver's side door. One of the hinge pins is being rather problematic. And of course, I can't take one of the screws off for the hinge assembly because it's stripped. So I need to get that door off. The passenger door is off over here, off camera, and that needs to get stripped down and metal worked. I worked as much as I can from the back side where this big crease is, right towards the bottom of the door. And not all of it is visible. Some of it's behind kind of the internal framework, and if I try to use some of my bars to push that dent out on the outside, all I'm doing is mangling that inner structure. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of finagling there and some skim or some filler on that. It really, the car itself just needs to get another coat of primer where I've gone over it. We've done all of our blocking on here. Let me show you. This area over here was our initial huge area of concern, and you've seen we've gotten most of this contour down. I've got to prime it and reblock it right in this area here, but by and large it is 100 times better than it was. A little bit of dent we worked there, just skimmed that, and then just other little spot marks. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Just some other spot areas around where that filler panel by the trunk didn't really fit that well. We got our new, for right now, backer in the trunk. I'm guessing that's going to get taken out for upholstery, so I'm not putting a whole lot of effort into reattaching that. Everything over here is pretty good. There's a little bit of body work down there with some bad previous work from, I don't know, original or what. And then this area here and on the passenger side where we filled in from where there was rust. So again, this area, front cowl, we're not painting anything that's under the hood assembly. This color is staying put. I was told to leave that alone. Same thing for the cowl and firewall. That's not getting touched. So we unfortunately have to have a nice tape line right along here where the firewall meets the cab or the cowl, whatever. So that's going to be our break point. So be it. Otherwise, we got all 4 shocks on. I put the other 2 rear shocks on this morning. And here has been painted and blacked up, ready to go. So really, I'm just going to start, I'm going to clean off the car one more time. Some wax and grease remover. There's, of course, dust and barnacles up here from sitting in the shop. We did find a low spot with some blocking, so we filled that in. That's good to go now. And again, mask off our jams. We can do that. This stuff here is gooey, has got to get cleaned off, and just some prep in our jamming, and we will get ready to go. So this is going to be kind of a long one. So grab a beverage, some hot chocolate, hot toddy, hot something, and let's just get cranking on it. Alrighty gang, we are back. It is the next day. I spent a lot of time last night getting everything masked up. Windows and door frames, door openings took a long time to do. I got the driver's side door off. I'm gonna be painting those later. Mainly I have to figure out how to get these pins, the hinge pins, out without damaging them. I'd like to not paint everything in one assembly on the car. We'll see. We'll see how things pan out because this just kind of flaked off. So anyways, everything is masked up. I've gone over it with wax and grease remover, and I'm gonna go ahead and mix up some primer, find my GoPro, and throw on my Teletubby outfit. And the game plan is I'm gonna be priming this thing, hopefully get down 2 coats of primer, and let that sit. I'm gonna run up to the store, grab some more reducer for the base coat. And I'm not sure why I missed getting that at the store earlier this week, but hey, nice afternoon for a drive while I let the primer do its thing. Come back, hit it with a sealer, base coat, clear coat. Hopefully that's all we gotta do. Now the downside is the wind is blowing directly at the garage today, so I can't use my exhaust vents as I would like to. Maybe later in the afternoon when I get down to the base and the clear, I'll be able to do that, but right now primer, if it gets a little nib in it, I can easily just scuff that out. So I'm gonna stop talking and start painting. Alright, we've got that coat of primer on there. It's going to dry a little bit. I did see one spot that I forgot totally. Right in front of that rear passenger wheel is a little more sanding just from that damage. You didn't see it earlier, so now I saw it. I've got to go fix it and go over that. But at least we've got all of our bare metal covered with our epoxy primer. So now I can go back through with a coat of the high build poly primer and then hit that with the probably 400, 600, and then start laying down base. But for now, this has to sit for a while, so I'm gonna take my trip up to the car store, hopefully find my reducer. We can come back and keep moving forward. Everything here looks pretty good. Good coverage, no runs, no drips, anything like that, so that makes me happy. The only thing I see is that where we had our lead work from the original paint, a little bit of a spot there. Hopefully some high build will take care of that. Otherwise, yeah, the primer looks really good. So happy about that. Jams are done. Those hopefully will turn out well. Again, the door jams, you're barely gonna see them. Front cowl is finally done, primered. Waiting on that for a while. So we're just gonna let this dry and come back in a little while. All right, it's the next day for me. By the time I get everything primed, I did 2 coats of primer on there, and I got it block sanded down with 600 grit. It was too late, and there were too many little puddles of water here and there. I didn't want to start shooting my base and sealer and clear, so here we are today. And as you've seen me shoot plenty of gray, I'm going to bypass that step for you. I'm just going to go ahead and get that done, mix up some of our metallic-y gray, gunmetal-y color, and come back and start laying down some colors. So it'll be about as quick as this for you. Alrighty, we've got our sealer down. It's been about a half an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and get our base coat mixed up and ready to go. I did find a couple little dirt nibs up on the roof. You're really never going to see them, but I knocked those down with some 1000 grit anyways. And I'm just going to take one more walk around before I hit it with the tack cloth. And we're going to start laying down some color. I'm pretty excited for this. Now, we shall see. We've had warmer weather than normal again. It was about 60 something today, 55. I'm going to be warmer tomorrow. Mind you, we're nearly at Thanksgiving here. So those silly box elder bugs have come back out. I saw a bee floating around earlier this evening. Hopefully I've chased everything out of the garage. Shopcat was chased out. She wasn't here and said, nah, I don't want any of this paint job stuff. So she's gone. Hopefully the bugs followed her, and we're going to get moving. So I'm going to put this camera away, find the GoPro, and like I said, tack coat or tack cloth, find my good friend the gray Teletubby, and get painting.
Hot seat to remove the DPF. The DPF still didn't want to come off after getting the panel kind of warm, so we went ahead and scrapped that idea. We're going to come back to the DPF later. It needs new DPF. It is yellow. I got a little chunk. I mean, that's...
One eternity later.
Alrighty, it has been, well, it's been a while, but we finally got a couple of good coats of clear down, and when I say a couple, I mean a lot. Let's take a quick walk around, and I'll start unmasking this thing. So overall, I already started unmasking the door just to sort of look for a few parts. It looks pretty good. We've got pretty good finish here. I would say new car, factory, or better orange peel, minimal. Look at more of these little guys. They just won't leave me alone. The box elder beetles. You're in there somewhere. There you go. Those were bane of my existence. But the rest of the car, roof looks pretty good. The doors, or the quarters look good. Like I said, I've got a bunch of parts downstairs already painted. Front end looks good. So we're going to go ahead and start unmasking this thing. Now, a little story time here of why it was such a pain. Well, we had the problem with the bugs. We had a problem with temperatures. It is now, you're seeing this on December, and this is for me taking place the last couple of weeks in November. It hasn't been unseasonably cold, but it's been really fluctuating here. So normally I've been painting in the warmer months. The results have been awesome, minimal to no trash. Finish looks great, don't need to do any cutting and buffing. This was a different story. So I already know that the paint looks good, but it is gonna need a cut and buff. In the spring, the paint's gonna need some time to cure, and it's gotta go back to the owner in just a couple of days here. So I owe him a cut and buff in the spring, but typically when I'm painting, I'll have my exhaust fans in there to suck all the stuff out. And right now, being winter, we've got winds coming out of the northwest, which kind of blows right into the garage. So even though I was sucking the air out the bottom, the wind was blowing in around the door jambs for the overhead door, the seams and whatever, and more trash was coming in than fumes were going out. So we just did away with the ventilation and got what we got. So at the end of the day, well, we'll go back a little farther now. This back corner I mentioned originally would be, I saw some issues, put some extra high build primer in here where the body panels all come together. I ended up just stripping this whole area down, sanding it, skimming it, repriming it, sealing it, basing it, clearing it. Great, that looked awesome. And then I went to clear the car. Of course, 9 o'clock in the evening, I didn't have enough clear to get the entire job done. So, go pick up some more supplies, come back the next day, get everything re-prepped, cleaned, degreased, everything just in the 24 hours. Cleaned what I can. Started putting on the clear and I got streaks all over the roof, some up here on the cowl, in the back, just like big ridges and valleys. So I said, well, I've already got all my clear made up. I know I'm going to sand everything down, so let's just clear over everything we can because I'm going to have to come back and sand, and I don't want to sand through all the clear and go down to the base coat because then, well, I'm out of paint. So we spent a good time wet sanding everything down. We did 400 and then 600 wet sand. That got rid of 95% of all of our stuff that was plaguing me. And last night I came out here, shot 3 good coats of clear, and I think it turned out pretty good. Well, let's go ahead, finish unwrapping this thing, and take one closer look before we start putting it together. So you may be asking, why did you clear it last night and you're just taking off the tape today? Aren't you worried about bridging or anything like that? The answer really is no. This has been masked up for a couple of weeks now with Thanksgiving and other family events going on. I didn't get this done, boom, boom, boom. So whatever was done to bridge was done a week ago. And that's just how it is. But we'll go ahead and unmask some of these guys here. Remember, we were asked not to remove any of the glass, not to remove these stripping here for the hood. So we had to do a lot of masking. And hopefully that did not result in any missed spots or overspray. And so far, it's looking pretty good. It's under the hood, you're rarely going to see it, but we try our best to make it pretty. Now my only one disappointment is on the roof, kind of smack dab in the middle of the back. There's one piece of trash. I don't know if it popped up from tape that moved around, but that's kind of buried itself. You can't see it from here, but we'll take care of cutting that out in the spring. When we do our buffing, we shouldn't need to do any wet sanding. The finish looks good enough. Just some good old cutting and buffing with the wheel come springtime. Anyways, let me finish this mess up and we'll come back and take a look at her. Alrighty, well, we're unwrapping just the last bit here on the windshield, and as you can see, everything is coming off pretty nice. A little chunk right here I've got to grab a knife and take off, but otherwise I think it looks really good. If it was my car, I would have done a few things different. I probably would have pulled the engine, done the firewall, that whole inner cowl area, pulled the glass. But again, that's just what I'm used to. So hopefully we've done the best we can here for the owner. And I'm gonna take a little bit of time, reset, clean up, put everything back where it goes, and get into reassembly mode. There's a couple of things I've got to do. Clean up just some stuff in the car, around the car, excuse me. I've got to go ahead, take off the rear tires, fill in that or spray in that that protective bed liner, rubberized stuff on the wheel wells here, like I did in the fenders. Just kind of basic clean up, a little bit of dust from sitting in the shop on the front shocks, get those cleaned up, just to kind of a general once over before I start bringing all the parts back up for reassembly. And that's where we're going to come back with the next video and get that reassembled. I guess lessons learned from this effort: don't try and paint in your garage in the middle of November when you've got bugs and wind blowing at you, and you have to kick your car and your wife's car out of the garage. Mine's been out of the garage for a few weeks, and her car every day I paint. So kind of our house rule is everything in the building's at the end of the night, and I broke my rule for that. So the end, I think the outcome is worth it, but going forward, hopefully we'll have a better way to deal with this. I'm gonna look for an inflatable booth, at least for the shop, for warmer season painting. I'm gonna reach out to a couple of vendors and see if anybody would like to partner with me for that. Or hey, if you wanna buy me a booth, that'd be great. Just 15 by 25 by 10 inflatable booth with the elephant trunk on the outside for the exit, the nice filter for the inside, about $1,500. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Like I said, we're gonna come back in our next video and reassemble everything, and that's not gonna air until after I deliver it to the customer, but don't wanna spoil his surprise. So that's where we're at, and thanks for watching this. We will see you in the next video. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. We are getting new subscribers every day, so thank you to those who are watching and making this happen. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.